The show began as usual with Colbert's signature charm, the audience cheering wildly as David Schwimmer took the stage. The beginning was warm, filled with jokes about friends and nostalgic references to the show's legacy. Colbert brought up a few fun clips, and the crowd laughed along. Recent comments on celebrity activism. Colbert, with a sarcastic edge, asked if celebrities should really be the moral compass of society. Colbert smirked, implying that actors often overestimate their influence, and that's when David's expression subtly shifted. The studio felt the sudden shift as laughter faded, and the tension slowly rose between host and guest. David calmly countered Colbert's implication. Responsibility. Colbert leaned back, feigning amusement, and quipped that preaching from red carpets doesn't exactly move the needle. The audience laughed, but David didn't. His tone sharpened as he pointed out how dismissing celebrity activism undermines efforts to raise awareness about real issues. Was now treated as performative. Colbert tried to interrupt with another joke, but David talked over him, his voice firmer, more deliberate. The audience was quiet now, not sure if they should laugh or stay still, to mock from a desk, but harder to actually go out and do the work. That comment visibly caught Colbert off guard, and for a second, even he seemed unsure how to proceed. Colbert tried to regain control by shifting the conversation toward David's recent documentary, hoping to calm the friction. But the question he chose, so is this just another vanity project with a cause sprinkled in? Only added fuel? He responded that his project took 2 years of research, filming in conflict zones, and working directly with human rights lawyers. He added that if Colbert had actually watched the film instead of reading headlines, he might understand the depth of it, the audience murmured, sensing the argument evolving from playful banter to serious confrontation. Colbert's face tightened, his humor dulled by David's directness. David leaned in and said that the media, even progressive media, often undermines real activism by framing it as self-serving. Just two intelligent men standing firm on very different ground. David didn't back down, continued, explaining how the work he supports isn't about fame, it's about giving a voice to people who are otherwise ignored. He mentioned refugee children, displaced families, and broken asylum systems. Colbert attempted to steer the show back into humor, but every punchline now felt off. David looked him in the eye and asked why sincerity makes people uncomfortable. He said, "Is it easier to laugh at everything than to feel anything?" That line struck a chord. Even Colbert paused. The audience clapped lightly, as if unsure whether it was okay to support David against their beloved host. Colbert tried a softer approach, and for the first time, Colbert seemed to really hear him. The show went to commercial. Producers whispered hurriedly while the two men remained in their seats. When the show returned, the mood was different. Colbert addressed the elephant in the room. Was one of those nights. David agreed, saying disagreement isn't a problem, disrespect is. The two men nodded politely, but the warmth of earlier was gone. The next topic was Forced, a fun game segment clearly designed to lighten the mood. David participated, but without enthusiasm. The audience played along, but their cheers were subdued. Something had shifted in the fabric of the show. The spontaneity of the argument had peeled away the rehearsed tone, revealing to people unwilling to compromise on what they believed in. It was no longer just entertainment. It was something raw. Online, the moment went viral within minutes. Clips of the exchange spread rapidly, with viewers split. Some praised David for standing his ground and calling out the dismissive tone often used against sincere causes. Others defended Colbert, arguing that late-night shows shouldn't be treated as political platforms. Hashtags like #SchwimmerSpeaks and #ColbertClash trended, both men for taking the moment too seriously. Commentators on morning news shows debated the role of celebrities in social justice and whether talk shows are the right place for real discourse. It was about the fine line between truth-telling and performative dialogue. The clash had ignited a wider conversation that neither of them could have predicted when the segment began. In the days that followed, David released a statement on his social media. He emphasized that he wasn't attacking Colbert personally, but standing up for the people whose lives are often turned into punchlines. He thanked those who supported him and encouraged fans to watch the documentary for themselves. Colbert, for his part, addressed it briefly on the next episode of his show. He admitted that the conversation had gotten heated and said that the best interviews are the ones that don't go as planned. Sometimes the sparks mean you're touching something real, he said. It was clear that the moment had left an impression on both men, and neither was pretending otherwise. Behind the scenes, network executives weren't thrilled. Was great TV, authentic, and bold. Others worried it hurt the show's image. Colbert's team reportedly had internal discussions about how to handle future interviews with politically active guests. Serious news outlets to further discuss the issues he raised. Instead of a PR disaster, the argument opened new doors for him. He appeared on podcasts, panels, and university forums, always circling back to the message that compassion doesn't have to be sanitized to be broadcast. In a media landscape often shaped by controlled narratives, their unscripted conflict was refreshing even, if uncomfortable. Audiences seemed to hunger for more than banter and catchphrases. The two men crossed paths again, this time at a charity event in New York. A photographer caught them talking quietly off stage. No cameras, no microphones. According to sources close to the event, they spoke candidly, without lingering resentment. David reportedly said, "I respect what you do. I just wish we could go deeper without defensiveness. Could ask tough questions without sounding like I'm mocking." They didn't agree on everything, but they found mutual ground. That photo, shared silently by the charity's Instagram page, told a different story than the one that went viral. It was about the willingness to keep the dialogue going even when it's uncomfortable. Looking back, the clash between David Schwimmer and Stephen Colbert didn't end careers or destroy reputations. Of them, it challenged audiences to think about where they get their information, what they dismiss as just entertainment, and how easily sincerity is mistaken for self-righteousness. In a world where most interviews are scripted and rehearsed, their unscripted moment was a rare slice of honesty. Honesty, as it turns out, doesn't always fit neatly into a commercial break. Sometimes it's awkward, loud, even combative, but it's real. Whether you agreed with David or sided with Stephen, you walked away thinking, because every now and then, a clash isn't a breakdown, it's a breakthrough.